This review is a lot of fans' favorite reviews, and it's one of mine also, for a lot of reasons. A lot of people consider this review to be the one where I really started hitting my stride, and that's what I think. I think you can really see a transition point in this review that kind of differentiates it from all the other reviews I did in the past. And the main reason for that is I actually started writing scripts. I really don't know what I was thinking, and I guess if you're looking at the evolution of a filmmaker or a critic or something, it seems really stupid when the author all of a sudden realizes, hey, you know what, it'd be really funny if I actually started writing this shit in advance. But that's kind of what happened, and I guess what I was trying to do at first was emulate critics more like the critics I was talking about before that had a more off-the-cuff style. I was not actually trying to emulate the angry video game nerd, and I think the format of those early reviews really proves that. When I started writing scripts for episodes like this, I wasn't trying to emulate the nerd. I just kind of realized, as I was piecing those older reviews together, that it would just be a lot funnier if I'd put even a little bit of foresight into planning the jokes out, planning the bits out for these reviews. I could have recurring jokes, I could have better jokes, I wouldn't be searching for words all the time, there'd be less dead space, the review would be tighter, and I'd get a lot more fans. People would come over and visit the site, and they'd have a better time than if I was just kind of improvising over gameplay footage. So that's what I did. But even at this point, I didn't really have a script, as in not everything was absolutely written. I guess my first step was just writing an outline. Basically, I storyboarded in a form of like an outline, bullet points, step by step, what kind of scenes I wanted to include, what jokes I wanted to remember, what bits I specifically wanted to put in. And from there, I kind of pieced the scenes together and did multiple takes going through each scene several times, and I basically knew what I wanted to say, because I've had this review in me for a long time. I just didn't have the footage, and so this game I actually played from beginning to end, I think maybe twice, just to get all the footage I wanted, because some of the footage I kind of had to get staged, like especially the puking soldier stuff. You kind of have to manipulate them into getting them to puke at certain points. Like the simultaneous puking actually happened to be spontaneously at one point, but I had to go back and kind of trigger it again. And you can actually pretty easily do that by luring them into really gory rooms. They'll all just start puking in unison. But anyway, yeah, this one had more of an outline structure than anything else. But beyond this, absolutely everything in the reviews from this point on is scripted, like every word. I do kind of stray sometimes when I'm recording live, but I just think it flows a lot more smoothly. The reviews are a lot tighter, and it's a lot funnier now that I've moved to a much more regimented structure for these reviews. This is also one of my favorites in terms of I probably have the most personal connection to this game than any other game I've ever done before, mostly because I felt really screwed buying this game. I love John Carpenter's The Thing. If you don't know what that is, you should definitely go check it out if you're at all a fan of horror movies. It's one of my favorites because I think it was actually years ahead of its time in terms of just sheer balls. It had such fantastic special effects and gore, and it could have so easily turned into a disaster. I guess for me, it just had a very bleak ending, and it was so aggressive and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but a lot of people have tried to kind of copy this formula for The Thing, and there's even an X-Files. This is the What Is Love bit. I love this. Anyway. A lot of shows like the X-Files even have tried to copy the success of The Thing, even down to the setting, where there's a bunch of people trapped in an Arctic research station. I think it's called ICE. I think it's first season. And that was even one of the better X-Files episodes. But if you've seen The Thing, you can see the similarities there. And it doesn't hold up, because John Carpenter's film is far superior. A lot of people like this game, too. I actually got flack for hating on this game. I don't know why they liked it. Really, I guess they liked the trust system that was a part of this game, where you actually had to work to earn the teammates' trust. But I guess my two complaints for that was, one, the trust system was so rudimentary and pathetic, it wasn't even really a system. It was just like, if you gave your partner a gun, he trusted you. If you didn't, he didn't. And also, it doesn't really matter if they trust you anyway, because everyone you meet in this game is a thing. Everyone is an alien. So I don't care if they trust me or not. Plus, the trust system, it kind of falls flat on its ear, because there's only a few times you need to employ it to get through a space. Like, sometimes you'll have to make a guy let you through a door. But in that case, they basically just hand you the implement you need to get the guy to trust you. So it'll just be like, oh, here's a blood test. Use it to get the guy to trust you. So you do, and he lets you in. The combat was really nothing special, because maybe you thought it was complex, or maybe you thought there was some kind of synergy to the weapons, but really all it was is you wore a guy down and you set him on fire. That was it. Collins, I wish I had better quality footage of Collins dancing. It was so dark in this game, I actually had to turn the gamma way up, and this is actually as good as it gets without looking really washed out. But I actually hadn't noticed Collins dancing before until I started playing this game. From what I understand, this is actually a gameplay glitch. The guy is not supposed to be actually flailing around all the time. This is just kind of a movement thing he does when he starts to panic. But for some reason, he still flails around and keeps following you. But I don't know why he panics and then turns into a thing.
You know, either these tests really don't work, or this game is bugged up the ass.
Yeah, that was my other complaint, was the trust system falls flat on its ear again when you realize that it doesn't matter if you've tested somebody, because they will always turn into a thing at certain trigger points on the map. Always. So there's no point in using the tests at all. I don't know what I would have done with this game, because I think the reason most people like it maybe is the fact that it's a shooter, a survival horror shooter, and I really can't think of anything of that type before the thing. But it's still not good. There's just so many things wrong with it. I just never liked it, and I really felt betrayed, because John Carpenter himself was endorsing this game all over the place. Coming up, you'll see one of the most enduring gags that I've ever done, and that's the fuse box count. I've actually tried to kind of shoehorn this bit into other reviews with very little luck, because there's just not that many fuse boxes in games, but this was such a good bit in this review, because literally every 10 feet you were messing with a fuse box. You just had to hold the use key down and fix these fuse boxes. They were all over the place. You just spent so much of this game fixing fuse boxes, and I think there were even... I don't even think I got through half of them with this bit. There had to be at least 60 in this bit, and I think I said there were 48 or something like that. But I actually left most of the footage of the fuse boxes out. But it's always a good bit whenever I can use the fuse box count, like the Final Fantasy VIII review. When I threw that one in there, that was classic. That was good stuff. And so people who've seen the reviews, it's really funny. And at first I kind of thought people wouldn't like it, but I got a lot of comments, and people really enjoy it. And actually, I've seen a few people point out moments where I could have included the fuse box count. They kind of request it. It's kind of like the "I heard that Curtis" thing. There were times in the Phantasmagoria review where people were actually saying, "You know, you could have said I heard that Curtis there." I just told the audience, "Fuck you." This made me really mad, though, and I had to mess with this. Even when I was playing this the first time, I was like, "Seriously, are we going to do this the whole game?" I think pretty soon I point out some things that bug me generally in a lot of games. One being really illogical weapon placement and ammo placement. I know that it's really hard to play this type of game without having a lot of ammo on hand, but at the same time... Oh, the exploding kitchen, right? But oftentimes I have a real problem with the fact you'll walk into, like, a lingerie shop or a kitchen and find a box of shotgun shells. Or you'll be in some hospital room where there's like an observation room, and on a gurney you'll find a box of 357 Magnum shells. I never got that, and I know that the game kind of wants you to stay fresh on ammo, but for some reason it really takes me out of that type of game, and I don't know why, but this game really was guilty of that in a lot of places where, like for some reason there's just ammo everywhere. Like, who brought this ammo? Did the soldiers bring it with them and just like throw it around like candy, like hiding it like Easter eggs? Or did the original science team in the movie have all this ammo just laying around, and why did they need it? Were they currently at war with Norway or something? I don't know. Another thing that bugged me was the infestation of head crabs. I actually don't know whether this coincided with Half-Life or not, but the use of head crabs was pretty egregious. Right. This boss kills you as soon as you walk through the door because it instantly damages you before you have a chance to react. It'll only kill you if you're really, really low on health, but when I walked through that door, I was. So, actually, I thought I had bugged the game up because I didn't know why I was dying. I would just walk through there. I walked through there like 4 or 5 times wondering why I was dying. And then I used a health pack, and then I walked through. I still got punched, but that was why I died. But that was one of the really frustrating moments because I actually thought I couldn't finish the review because I couldn't get all the footage I wanted.
I'm serious. That's him.
Yeah, the voice actor behind this guy is actually the cigarette-smoking man from the X-Files, which is kind of an interesting little closed loop because, like I said, there's an X-Files episode called Ice that almost directly rips off The Thing. This character actually looks a lot like John Carpenter, the guy with the white hair. And I don't know, actually, I think he gets shot in the back by the bad guy. But interesting story about the movie itself. Some of you may not know what Riff Tracks is. If you don't know, it's the cast of Mystery Science Theater, basically, who, they're kind of still doing their Mystery Science Theater thing, although what they do is they riff a movie, and then they release that commentary track as, like, an MP3 that you play over top of the DVD itself. And it's like watching Mystery Science Theater without the little Shadowrama puppets. But anyway, long before there was a Riff Tracks, I was actually doing a few audio commentaries much in that style. They weren't anywhere near as good. I never claimed that. But I was actually looking for a way to try and sell these in some fashion or make them available. My problem was I couldn't get them synchronized up with the movie well enough, something that Riff Tracks actually did much, much better. But anyway, I had actually written and performed an entire full-length Riff Tracks of John Carpenter's The Thing. And I had done it and recorded it all in one take, and it was flawless. It was perfect. It was funny, too. It was probably one of the funnier things I'd written. And just when I had finished the entire commentary, I had finished recording it, I was going to put it up on my website, I hit the stop button on my recording software, and the entire thing bombed. The program crashed, and I could not salvage the file. The entire thing, well over 2 hours of work, was lost. And that was just about the angriest I think I have ever been, was when I had lost that file. What I was doing was I was using an open source software program called Audacity, which is an audio editor, and it's a good one. And it has improved greatly since I had that tragic accident, but I have never gone back to that particular Riff Tracks again because I was so frustrated, so angry that I had lost all that work. I couldn't even look at that software anymore. Yeah, the infamous 2 fuse boxes in the same hall accident. I almost hit the roof when that happened. But the Riff Tracks thing, it's basically why I stopped doing the Riff Tracks things on my website. It was because I was so angry, and I didn't trust the software anymore not to crash as I had done it. Now, I have gone back to that style. Like, Phantasmagoria is essentially a Riff Tracks of the entire game. It's a lot different from most Let's Plays you'll hear. But I actually found a much better way to go about doing it, where I don't have to risk losing all my data in a crash. It was really foolish, actually, to try and record it all in one take, and it was good. I had done it well, but when you do it all in one take, you risk losing all that data. And also, when you do it all in one take, for some reason, the software will introduce kind of a drift where you'll lose synchronization with the movie, just in terms of like hard drive thrashing. Like when it tried to access the hard drive, it may introduce like a half second of dead space or like CPU memory usage, stuff like that. Timing goes all over the place, so it's actually best to kind of record it in small takes and piece it together from there, just to make sure your synchronization is good, to make sure you're not losing anything, so you're saving often, that kind of thing.
Now I'm skipping to the very last confrontation of the game. Game over, Whitley.
Game Over Whitley was one of those things that at the time struck me as fucking hilarious. Even now, I really can't even think of that line without cracking at least a smile. But I don't think it caught on as well as I thought it would. I thought people would hear Game Over Whitley and just lose their shit like I did. But I guess it was kind of one of those you had to be there kind of jokes.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
But you are not alone. Somebody in a very dorky hat.
Spoilers for the movie, which I guess I should have warned you guys about if you hadn't seen it, was, McCready comes back in this game, and it's bullshit. There's actually a lot of fan debate going on about the rather ambiguous nature of the ending of the movie. And the game pretty much answers that question for you on whether or not McCready is a thing, whether or not Child survives. There's a lot of debate on what's inside the bottle that they pass around at the end, which is basically answered in this version. And that makes me really mad because this is actually an officially sanctioned game by John Carpenter himself. So he's basically saying the ending to this game is canon. It's official. So he's basically just ruining the ending to this movie, which I thought was rather elegant in its bleakness. It satisfies my emo gland in saying that McCready survives. This is also one of the worst boss fights I can remember, not because it's hard, not because I die a lot, but because it stacks kerosene barrels in rather obvious patterns around the creature. You're just very fortunate this guy chose to turn into a giant tentacle monster in the exact middle of this triangular arrangement of kerosene barrels. The best part of McCready is his very identifiable kind of Frito Bandito hat. I've actually looked for this type of hat, and I don't think you can buy it anymore because I don't really think you can pay people to wear it socially. It must be some kind of, like, bushman's hunter's hat. I don't know, but it was amazing, that hat in that movie. It was... I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. This is one of the few times you'll actually see me not in my bedroom. I recorded the majority of this stuff downstairs, and I think I recorded a lot of it, the live footage where you see me, which isn't a lot, but I probably recorded that on a webcam. I had a good one, but it still looks nowhere near as good as the DV cam footage I used. It looks like I filmed it on a pretty good webcam, but I think it was just mainly because of laziness that I wasn't willing to hook up the DV cam. I basically had to plug it in, and I didn't want to do that, and I had to hook up the FireWire cable. And so it was just laziness, really. But the sound and video of the webcam is nowhere near as good, and I stopped using it almost immediately after this. You guys deserve better. Oh, I also put in footage of the E.T. game cartridge, me gagging on that, because some people accuse me of not actually owning that game. Of like piracy or something of the Atari game, and I was like, really, you're accusing me of piracy of an Atari game? So I actually included me with that game cartridge to prove I actually had it, so there.